All right, diving right in, folks, we are tackling some seriously thought-provoking stuff
Oh, I
today.
love a good brain twister.
Right. Today, it's psychology, child development, and a mind-bending concept. The idea that the past might not be the only thing shaping who we are.
Interesting.
Buckle up, because this one's a wild ride. Basically, we're diving into this article, and it features Taryn Voget.
Oh, the How to Raise a Happy Child author.
That's her, alongside some insights from shaman John Rasmussen.
Okay, getting intriguing.
Right. And get this, they're suggesting that our future could actually be influencing our behavior right now.
Wait, hold on. That's a pretty big claim. If our future's shaping us now, wouldn't that, change how we live today?
Exactly. That's what we're going to unpack. And to even start to grasp this, we've got to talk about the Acorn Theory. It's from this book by James Hillman, The Soul's Code. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have. It's really insightful. It totally flips the script on that idea that we're just blank slates, shaped only by our experiences.
Yeah.
Hillman says it's more like each of us is an acorn, but inside, we've already got the blueprint to become a specific oak tree. Our destiny, in a way.
Okay, so I'm picturing this tiny little acorn with the potential to become this huge, strong oak tree. But how does that apply to us as people?
Well, imagine this. If we've each got this innate potential, a preset path, maybe that future version of ourselves is already at work, guiding us, pulling us towards becoming that oak tree.
Whoa. Okay, so it's not just about nature versus nurture anymore. It's like
Yeah.
future nature's in the mix, too.
You got it. Hillman actually calls this force inside us our daimon, like our own personal inner guide, our calling. And this idea, it really vibes with shamanic traditions, too.
Shamanism. Okay, now we're adding another layer to this.
Right. So shamanism, they see time not as a straight line, but like a spiral. Past, present, future, all jumbled up. What if our future selves are sending us messages back through time, shaping the choices we make?
Okay, hold on. Sending messages through time. This is starting to sound like a sci-fi movie. Are there any, real-world examples of this acorn theory playing out?
You know, the article actually gives a couple of really cool examples. Take Yehudi Menuhin, considered one of the greatest violinists ever.
I've heard the name, but I don't know much about him. What's so special about him?
So picture this. As a super young kid, he was obsessed with violins, throwing tantrums about it. But get this, when they gave him a toy violin, he smashed it. Almost like his future self, this master violinist was rejecting anything less than the real deal.
That's a pretty big statement coming from a toddler. So we're saying he was destined to be a great violinist, and that destiny was calling the shots even back then.
It really makes you think, was it just pure talent, or was there something deeper at play, this innate drive pushing him towards his future? If that's possible for Menuhin, what about us?
Mind-blowing. I bet our listeners are already thinking back to their own lives. Those moments where you felt drawn to something out of nowhere. But wait, the article had a few other examples too, right?
It did. Another one that sticks out is the story of Manolet, the legendary bullfighter.
Yeah, I know the name.
He was famous for his courage and skill in the ring, right? But as a kid, apparently he was terrified of everything, clung to his mom constantly.
Wow, that's kind of the opposite of what you'd expect from a bullfighter.
Right. Do you think maybe it was some kind of, premonition of the dangers he'd face in the ring?
That's an interesting thought. Could it be his destined path, the one that led him to the bull ring, was already shaping his fears as a child?
Maybe.
Makes you think differently about fear, huh? Maybe it's not always about the past. Maybe the future has a hand in it, too. Okay, what was that last example?
This one's about Winston Churchill. You know, the brilliant writer, orator, led Britain through World War II.
Oh, yeah, of course, but what's so unexpected about his story?
Well, get this. As a kid, he was a terrible student. Struggled with reading, especially. Pretty surprising for someone who became such a master of words, right?
Wow, that is surprising. Are we saying those early struggles somehow set the stage for his later success?
It's an interesting thought. Maybe those challenges he faced, they shaped his determination, gave him a unique perspective, and ultimately, maybe they contributed to his greatness as a writer.
You know what? It really does make you wonder how many of our so-called failures are actually setting us up for something greater down the line.
I don't know, but it's worth thinking about for sure.
It is, but, looking back at those examples, the violinist, the bullfighter, the statesman, they're all men. Is this a masculine thing, this idea of being driven by a predetermined destiny?
That's a great point. And yeah, it's important to remember that These examples, they're just a small slice of the pie. The Acorn Theory, though, it's for everyone, regardless of gender.
Right?
We need more diverse examples to really understand it.
Yep. I agree. It'd be fascinating to explore examples of women in history who maybe defied expectations and were guided by their future selves, too.
Definitely. Lots to explore there. But this brings us back to the heart of the deep dive. If our future is influencing us, how do we make sense of our present choices?
Yeah, exactly. Are we just supposed to, like, blindly trust that everything happens for a reason?
That's where the article brings in Taryn Voget's perspective on parenting.
Ah, okay.
She talks about this need to embrace the unknowable, to
Yeah.
trust the kid's inner acorn.
So instead of trying to mold kids into what we think they should be, we focus on nurturing that unique potential, their inner oak tree.
Exactly. She's pretty skeptical of traditional psychology's focus on the past, constantly analyzing childhood to understand behavior.
Yeah.
She says instead of digging around in the past, look ahead. Trust the wisdom already inside each child.
So instead of trying to fix what we think is broken in a kid, create space for their true selves to emerge.
That's a great way to put it. And you know what? This idea, it goes way beyond just parenting, right? It makes us rethink how we see success, failure, even those random things that happen in our own lives.
Right.
Maybe it's all part of a bigger plan, even if we can't see it yet.
It's definitely a radical shift in how we look at things.
It is. And it reminds me of Steve Jobs, that famous quote about connecting the dots. He talked about how this calligraphy class he took, totally random, ended up influencing the design of the first Macintosh computer.
Oh, yeah, I remember that quote.
It's like looking back and realizing, whoa, all those seemingly random things were actually leading somewhere meaningful.
Exactly. So maybe what seems chaotic in the present is actually part of a larger pattern. Maybe our future selves are guiding us. But how do we know which breadcrumbs to follow? Are we just supposed to chase every whim and hope for the best?
Well, that's where it gets tricky. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If our future selves are sending us messages, are they going to be like, big and flashing, easy to see? Probably not.
Right, more like subtle hints and whispers.
Exactly. It's about fine-tuning our antenna, learning to pick up on those subtle signals.
Okay, so back to intuition. That gut feeling that something's right, even if your brain can't explain why.
Bingo. Our intuition could be one of the main ways our future selves are talking to us.
Right, like that inner voice that just knows, even when your logical mind's saying something totally different.
Yep. It's like I've got this internal compass always pointing us toward the path that aligns with our future selves. But we don't always trust it, do we? We second guess, overthink, and miss the signs.
That's so true. I can't tell you how many times I've ignored my gut and regretted it later. It's like I knew deep down what I should do, but I talked myself out of it.
It happens to the best of us.
So how do we learn to trust that inner compass? Especially when, society is always telling us to prioritize logic and reason over intuition.
It's definitely a practice. It starts with simply noticing. Paying attention to those moments when your intuition speaks up. Notice what it feels like in your body, the thoughts that pop up, the emotions that come with it.
So get curious about those gut feelings instead of brushing them off as irrational.
Exactly. Instead of thinking, oh, that's a dumb idea, it'll never work, try asking, what if this is my future self trying to guide me? What if there's something here worth exploring?
I love that reframe. Takes the pressure off needing to have all the answers right away. Makes space for curiosity.
Right. And the more we practice tuning into our intuition, the stronger that connection to our future selves gets. It's like a feedback loop, a conversation across time.
That's a really cool way to think about it, like building a bridge between who we are now and who we're becoming.
Exactly. But sometimes it's hard to know if it's really intuition or just wishful thinking. How can we tell the difference?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Discernment is key. Real intuition, it usually feels calm, clear, grounded, even if the message is pushing you to do something bold. Wishful thinking, on the other hand, that tends to be more fueled by emotions, fears, desires. It feels kind of desperate.
So it's not just what the message is, but how it feels.
Exactly. Does it resonate with your values, your purpose? Do you feel a sense of peace or excitement? Or does it feel frantic, pressured, out of alignment with who you really are?
Those are some really good questions to ask. It makes me think about all those self-help books that tell us to focus on the past, to unpack our childhood traumas in order to move forward. But if our future is also influencing us, are we even looking in the right direction?
It's not about ignoring the past or pretending those wounds don't matter. But if we're only focused on the past, we might miss out on the amazing potential our future selves hold. It's about finding a balance, honoring the past, but staying open to what the future holds.
So instead of constantly digging through the past, trying to fix ourselves, we should also look ahead, envision the person we want to become.
That's the idea. Shift from a deficit mindset to a growth mindset. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, focus on what's possible.
Like we're all works in progress, constantly growing and evolving towards a future version of ourselves.
Exactly. And remember, the journey's just as important as the destination. Every experience, challenge, decision, it all shapes who we're becoming.
I love that perspective. It makes you see even those failures and wrong turns as part of the process. Like maybe they're nudging us in the right direction, even if it doesn't feel good at the time.
I think so. It's about embracing the unknown, trusting that even when things are shaky, we're being guided towards something better.
This whole conversation has been so inspiring, like a whole new world of possibilities.
It is exciting, isn't it? When we challenge those limiting beliefs and embrace new ways of thinking, it's amazing what we can unlock within ourselves.
So if we want to tap into that future wisdom to align with our best selves, where do we even start?
There are tons of different tools and techniques, but visualization is one of the most powerful, in my opinion.
Visualization, like closing your eyes and picturing ourselves achieving our goals, living our dream life.
You got it. But it's more than just daydreaming. It's about creating a super vivid, multisensory experience in your mind.
Okay, walk me through it. What does effective visualization actually look like?
So find a quiet spot, relax, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Then picture yourself 5, 10, even 20 years from now, living that ideal life.
Okay, eyes closed, imagining. But what should I be focusing on?
Don't just see it, feel it. What are you doing? Who are you with? What emotions are you feeling? Use all your senses. What do you smell, hear, taste, touch?
Wow, so it's like creating a whole movie in your mind, like you're already there.
Exactly. The more vivid and detailed it is, the more powerful the visualization. You're essentially imprinting this vision of your future self on your subconscious. And when you do it consistently, you start aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with that vision. It becomes more likely to happen.
That's incredible. I'm definitely going to give that a try.
You should. It's a simple but powerful tool for connecting with your future self and creating the life you want. But visualization is just one piece of the puzzle, right? There are other ways to tap into that future wisdom and make choices that help us grow.
Okay, like what else can we do to get in sync with our future selves?
Setting intentions is another big one. It's about making a conscious choice about how you want to show up in the world, what you want to create, who you want to become.
So it's not just about setting goals, but about giving those goals a deeper meaning.
Exactly. It's about aligning your energy and focus with what you want to achieve. It's like making a declaration saying, this is what I want, this is who I'm becoming.
It's like sending a signal to the universe, to our future selves, that we're on our way.
And the more clear and committed we are to our intentions, the more likely they are to show up in our lives. But it's not enough to just set the intention and wait for it to happen, right? We have to take action too.
Right. Intentions without action are just wishful thinking. But when you combine a clear intention with inspired action, that's where the magic happens.
Absolutely. It's like we're partners with the universe, with our future selves, in bringing our vision to life.
This is so empowering. It's like we have a say in our own destiny. But what about the things we can't control? Those unexpected curveballs life throws our way.
Life's full of surprises, that's for sure, both good and bad. And yeah, we can't control everything, but we can control how we respond.
So focus on what we can control. Our attitude, our mindset, our actions.
Exactly. Shift your attention away from what's outside your control to what you can do. That's where your power lies. You can choose to see challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and detours as invitations to try something new.
This is totally changing how I think about things.
That's what it's all about, right? Opening up to new perspectives.
It is. This whole idea of our future influencing the present is still blowing my mind, though. Anything else in the article that might help make sense of all this?
Yeah, they talk about manifestation. The idea that you can create what you want by aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
So by tapping into our future selves, we're basically aligning with the best version of ourselves, the one who's already achieved our dreams.
Exactly. It's like we're borrowing their energy and clarity to create a present that matches our highest potential.
And the more we practice aligning with that future version, the stronger that connection gets, making it easier to bring those desires to life.
It's like building a bridge to your future, brick by brick.
Okay, this is starting to make so much more sense. But if we're always looking ahead, trying to become our future selves, does that mean we can't enjoy the present moment?
That's a great question. It all comes back to balance. It's not about ignoring the present. It's about recognizing they're both connected.
So how do we find that balance? How do we embrace the future without missing out on the present?
It's about being present, mindful in our everyday lives, appreciate the beauty of each moment while also holding that vision of what you want to create in the future.
So be present in the present, but also be present to the future.
You got it. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're fully engaged in the now, but also guided by the wisdom of your future self.
This whole conversation has been so insightful. It feels like we've been given a brand new way of looking at life.
I think so too.
Yeah,
It's just the tip of the iceberg, though, right?
so true. But before we get too lost in all the possibilities, I'm curious, what do you think, really? Is this just a fun theory or something more? Is our future actually shaping us now?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? This whole future influencing the present thing. I'm still mulling it over myself.
Me too. It really makes you wonder, what if we've been going about life all wrong? Like, what if instead of obsessing over the past or even just focusing on right now, we should be, I don't know, actively aligning ourselves with the future we want?
I think that's a really powerful idea. We tend to think of the future as something that just happens to us. But what if we have more control than we think? What if we can actually shape our future by, like, tapping into our best selves, that wisdom from our future selves?
It's like, yeah, we're not just along for the ride. We're co-piloting this thing called life, working with our future selves to reach our destination.
Exactly. And just like a co-pilot, we got to stay in communication, check the instruments, make adjustments as we go.
Okay, so we've got intuition as our compass, visualization as our map. What are some other tools we can use to navigate toward that best possible future?
Well, we touched on setting intentions earlier. It's not just about goals. It's about infusing those goals with real meaning,
Hmm.
aligning our actions with what we truly want deep down.
So it's not just, I want to write a book, but why do I want to write this book? What impact do I want to have?
You got it. When we connect with the deeper why behind our goals, we tap into a whole other level of motivation.
It's like we're powering our actions with pure purpose, which makes the whole journey more meaningful.
And that's where inspired action comes in. It's not about forcing things or just going through the motions. It's about listening to that inner guidance, that nudge that tells you which actions are truly in your best interest.
So it's about being able to tell the difference between those actions that feel forced, like an obligation, and those that feel right, energizing.
Exactly. It's about choosing to spend your time and energy on things that light you up, things that feel good and expansive, even if they're a little scary or push you out of your comfort zone.
It's like trusting that our future selves are leading us toward experiences that will ultimately make us happy and fulfilled.
Exactly. And when we look at life like that, even the tough stuff, the challenges, the setbacks, they can become valuable lessons.
It takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Knowing we don't have to have it all figured out right now. Like, we can relax a bit, knowing there's something bigger supporting us along the way.
I think so. And when we let go of that need to control every little thing, we open ourselves up to guidance and help from places we might not even understand.
It's like surrendering to the mystery, trusting that there's a plan, even if we can't see it all right now.
Beautifully said. And sometimes that act of surrender is where we find our true strength.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've just scratched the surface, but it's given me so much to think about.
Absolutely. And that's what these deep dives are all about, right? Sparking that curiosity, shaking things up, opening up to new possibilities.
So as we wrap up, what's the one big takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with from this exploration of the future influencing the present?
I'd say this. You are not defined by your past, and you're not stuck where you are. You have the power to create a future that aligns with your greatest potential. Connect with your future self, set those intentions, and take action. Trust the process and embrace those possibilities.
That's a great way to put it, the perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining us on this mind-bending adventure. Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep.